Hi, everyone. Welcome back to all of those who have tuned in for the previous videos. And if you're new here, welcome to Love and Lunacy. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in and taking the time to watch these videos. It means a lot to me. And if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel so that you can get alerts when I post new videos and keep up with what's going on. And so this week, I wanted to kind of elaborate on therapy. I kind of mentioned it a little bit in the last video from last week, but I didn't really go into detail. So tonight, I really want to focus on that and the stigmas that are around therapy. I kind of want to start with a little background for me. I started going to therapy a year ago. So 2020, which was the perfect timing during the beginning of the pandemic. You know, you've got that going on top of regular life problems. Why not go seek, some therapy? So as I started this journey, I didn't really know what all it entailed. I didn't know how impactful therapy was going to be for my life. I absolutely love my therapist. She's amazing. She has helped me so much. And I thoroughly encourage therapy to anyone who's struggling. Because personally, I feel like we all need therapy. I feel like every single person has gone through something in their life where they need some kind of guidance or help. And so that's why I wanted to take time tonight to kind of talk about it so that you guys would know that it's nothing to be ashamed of. And if anything, I would be proud of you if you came up to me and were like, hey, I'm going to, get help, get therapy, because there are feelings and things that we go through that we don't always know how to navigate. If you've never gone through a situation, how do you expect to come up with a solution if you've never been through it? So that's kind of where therapy comes in. It's more of a navigational tool opposed to, let's see, the saying we were told, and I know this goes a lot for the us Black Americans in the African American household. The rule is you don't tell outsiders your business. You don't confide in someone who's not in the family about what's going on in your family. Let me tell you that is an extremely toxic mindset to have, and you need to throw it away. Because a lot of the times things that are going on in your household aren't healthy, and the methods that we were taught, it's not so much that our parents or grandparents were wrong. It's a generational thing. These are things that their parents told them and that their parents told them. So it's things that have been passed down, and it goes from family to family. It's just like this unwritten rule that you just don't do that. And I just, it's really hard because when you think about all the people that are suffering because they are told this, all the people who have been raped, molested, abused in any way, they're told you don't tell what goes on in this house. And so they're suffering. And because they're suffering in silence, because they're not allowed to seek help, or they feel like they're going to be shunned or shamed by their family, they end up killing themselves or hurting themselves in a detrimental way. And that's not something you want for you or a loved one. So starting today, I want everyone who's ever been told that don't talk to anyone but your family about family business, erase that from your memory. I know it'll be a lot easier said than done, but take the first step to know, okay, this isn't the right mindset to have, and that it's okay to get help. That was what last week's video was all about, is that it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay to ask for help. And so don't ever look at therapy as something negative, because honestly, it's positive. First and foremost, whatever you discuss with your counselor, therapist, psychologist, anything like that, they are not allowed to discuss that with anyone else but you. There are laws in place to protect you from that happening. So don't think they're going to listen to what you have to say and then call up one of their girlfriends or their guy friends or their wife or husband and be like, oh, let me tell you what this patient told me. They can't do that. Or even if they were to, kind of sum up what you were talking about and tell it to somebody else, they can't say it was you who told them. They can't give any information that it was anything that you said. So you're protected. You're safe. Therapy is a safe place. There are so many people who don't have a safe place. And as much as I would love for Love and Lunacy to be that for people, don't get me wrong. It is totally a safe place. But I know there's only so much I can do. If you've been through something so traumatic to where it has altered how you look at life, how you look at yourself, how you look at the world, you need to seek professional help. And when people say professional help, they often say it in a derogatory way, which is why people often feel, oh no, I can't go to therapy. People are going to talk about me because it's looked at wrong. The same way overall mental health is, there's a stigma on mental health, there's a stigma on therapy, and that needs to be destroyed. Those barriers need to be broken down so that we can heal individually and as a whole for this world. Everyone needs someone. So I always, when I talk to people, I always recommend counseling or therapy, especially now that I'm going through it. I meet with my therapist every 2 weeks, and it's honestly one of the best options I ever did for myself. It's not always that something's wrong, but if I need somebody to talk to, an unbiased opinion on someone who can give me some guidance, why not utilize that? Like, I want, help. I don't want to make a mistake if I know I could talk to somebody who could prevent me from doing it. So it's kind of the same thing like when we're telling our kids, hey, I've been through this already, so don't make the same mistakes I did. You know that bottling things in, especially painful things, you know what it can do to you. So don't do it. If you know what the consequence is going to be, why not select a different avenue in order to have a different outcome? So when seeking therapy, you have to do your research. I'm elaborating on this because I did talk about it last week, but not into full detail. Research. Research, research, research. When you're doing anything with mental health, research and education will take you so far, because what works for one person may not work for you. Like I said, there are different therapies of avenue. Different therapies of avenue, different avenues of therapy. Y'all bear with me. It's been a long day. But there are different avenues that you could take for therapy. It doesn't always have to be a psychologist or a therapist. You can do a counselor. You can do you can even do a friend or a family member if that's somebody you want to confide in. Therapy isn't always a licensed professional. Therapy can be anything that makes your body, your mind feel at peace and give you a clear conscience to where you can focus and make a clear decision on anything that's going on in your life. So for some people, their therapy is going to the gym, getting in a good workout. They clear their mind, they release that stress, they're able to relieve all of that and get back to their regularly scheduled programs. They're able to function once they have that workout in, their, energy's flowing. They're like, all right, I'm ready to take this on. And so that's perfectly okay. Everybody is different. So don't ever look at one person's situation and try to put yourself in their shoes, because you can't. You don't know what all that person's been through. You don't know the severity of it. You don't know if they've already tried therapy and maybe that didn't work, so they're trying a different form of therapy. So that's why I was like, research, research, research. Find what works for you. For me, physically seeing a therapist is what works. I have been on a downward spiral. I have hit rock bottom a couple times in life, and so being able to unload all of that I was carrying inside has helped make me a better person. Now, don't get me wrong, I still struggle every day. And like I said, you will never not struggle. Once you have that mental breakdown, it's something that you live with forever, because you form triggers that anything can happen. Seeing something, hearing something, seeing something, seeing someone, or a similar situation, it can flood back those memories, because even though you've healed, you don't ever forget. So you definitely, you know, will relive traumatic moments in your life. If you've gone through them, it's inevitable. So you definitely want to have a healthy way of dealing with them. And that's a healthy way. Talking to somebody who can give you an unbiased opinion on what you're going through, because they are educated on all these different types. They have to do a lot of schooling, y'all. Therapists don't just come in and be like, I want to be a therapist, and they get a certificate and go in. No, they have to go to school. They have to learn to understand emotions and mental states. And they even go as far as learning about medications that can help you, or different things like that. Because some people do need medications to help with that chemical imbalance, because that's what what it is. Some people don't always suffer from depression or anxiety. It could be bipolar, it could be schizophrenia. There are different levels to mental health. It's not always just depression and anxiety. That's what the average American suffers through, but it's not the only mental health issue that needs to be addressed or that's going on in the world. And if you know someone who is going through something and you don't quite know how to help them, suggest therapy. If they're combative and they're just like, no, that I don't want to do that, educate them. Because if you know information that they don't know and you have that uncomfortable conversation, it will make that person more comfortable with going to seek help, because they're learning something they didn't know. Like, most people think, oh, you have to pay for therapy out of pocket. That's not true. I use my insurance and I have Medicaid. Medicaid covers mental health. There, honestly, if you want to seek help, there's no excuse why you can't receive it. Whether it is from your insurance, you paying out of pocket, or if you can't afford it, there are different community programs where they will either discount it down for you, or you don't have to pay anything out of pocket based on your income, and you can receive mental health treatment, whether it be therapy or an outreach center. If you have to go in if you have substance abuse issues or any type of thing like that, where you feel you need to be admitted into a program, that is also covered. So I work with insurance at my job, and there are so many different insurances and plans and things that you can sign yourself up for if that's something you truly want. If you need help with that, I am always available to kind of educate and help you figure out if your insurance will cover it. I don't mind if you want to shoot me an email or a message and be like, hey, can you help me navigate through this insurance to figure out if I have mental health available? And if your insurance doesn't cover it, I can help you go into the direction of getting some help, even though it's not covered. We receive grants through the state that provide that for people who don't have it. As well as being a mental health advocate, I'm also on the Louisiana State Board for Mental Health. So I do sit in on monthly, bi-weekly meetings with the state of Louisiana, and I get this information. So any information I ever get is coming directly from the horse's mouth. I made it a point to make sure that this was something I did so that I could provide the community with enough information to create a change. And so many people don't know about the options that are available, which is why they don't seek that help, or they just feel like they're stuck. And so that is one of the biggest things that I'm here for, is to educate so that we can promote the change. Because if you don't know to act on it. You don't know to utilize something if you don't know that it exists. And so within each state, if for whoever may see this video, every state in the United States receives grants for mental health. It just so happens that Louisiana is at the bottom of that list. We don't fund mental health as much as other states. We lack where a lot of places have already advanced with their treatment options. So, until we can kind of get up to par where everyone else is, you can still utilize those things that are available to you. There are community outreach centers that you can call and go to and talk to, like, just like regular workers who are there for support. There's, like I said, there's different levels to therapy as well as mental health. You don't always have to immediately go to a therapist or a psychologist. Start at a level that's comfortable for you, and then move as you feel you need to move. Like I say, don't base it off everyone else, because what works for Tom ain't gonna work for Harry. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to figure out which way you need to go. And then depending on a diagnosis, if you feel off, the primary thing is to get a diagnosis, because you don't want to go somewhere or go see a doctor and you've been, improperly diagnosed. So don't ever make a decision off of yourself. You can tell if you're depressed. You can tell if you feel off. Yes. And when you feel that way, call your doctor. Call your primary care. Or you can call a counselor or a therapist, set up an appointment, and they can formally diagnose you. That way you can be treated properly, because you don't want to go see a psychologist and you need to see a therapist. There's a difference between those. And so, like, a therapist can't prescribe you medication, but a psychologist can. So these are things you need to look at. If you feel like you have a chemical imbalance, you need to see a psychologist. If you feel you're just, going through emotions and things in life, you need someone to talk to, a therapist or a counselor. That's why I say you always have to do research to figure out what works best for you and your situation, because everyone doesn't know what you're going through. Only you do. So once you've determined, what you need, and it's not something you have to disclose to the world. You don't have to call your family, be like, hey, I'm going to therapy. Especially if you're dealing with a household or a family that doesn't completely agree with it. Let the results speak for themselves. I can wholeheartedly vouch for that. Like I said, therapy was not something that was approved of in my family. It was not something that was a go-to. So for them to see the changes in me and how much it's bettered me, they know, okay, therapy actually works. And so, don't be afraid to share your success story, or to share, like, hey, today I had a breakthrough, but if you feel you're going to get a negative feedback that's going to push you 10 steps back, you don't have to tell that. Keep it to yourself. That could be between you and the Lord, or a significant other, or whoever you feel you can confide in. If you feel you need to tell someone, you need that positive energy, because therapy is a big step. It's not something to be taken lightly, because it does alter you. It is going to cause you to open up wounds that have been closed or that you've forgotten about. You have to dig deep. And if you know you're not ready to do the work, if you know, okay, I feel off, but I just absolutely cannot handle the emotions that will come with this, wait till you're ready, because let me tell you, it gets real in therapy. You will learn things about yourself that you had no idea about. And so you definitely want to make sure that when you're doing it, you are also in the right mental state to receive the information and the feedback that you're going to get from your doctor or counselor or therapist. And make sure you're ready to apply it to your life, because if you're not ready for that change, everything they're saying, they're pretty much talking to a brick wall. You've got to make sure your mind and your heart is open and softened to receive what they're trying to tell you in order to better yourself. You have to be willing to do the work. Therapy does not work unless you do the work. They can't do it for you. It's just a guidance tool to help you learn how to navigate through life and your emotions. So don't ever think that, oh, well, I went to therapy and they told me this, but nothing's changed. I still feel the same. Are you applying what they're telling you to your life? Are you trying to make a change? Are you changing things within yourself in your daily routine that can promote the change they're telling you? And if you're not, then you got to do some self-reflection. Because therapy is just that. It is a self-reflection. They're practically holding up a mirror and they're like, all right, this is what's inside of you. This is, this is this. And you have to look at that and you have to be willing to deal with it. And so there are a lot of factors that go into therapy, and it's nothing to be taken lightly, but it's also nothing to be ashamed of or feel like you've failed. Because so many people, and I know I felt this way, I put therapy off for years. It was recommended to me a long time ago, and I've been diagnosed with depression since I was 8. And I went my whole teenage and adult life going through traumatic experiences that only deepened that depression and increased my anxiety to the point where I started having panic attacks, anxiety attacks, and I just felt like I couldn't be happy anymore. And getting to the point when you hit rock bottom and you see yourself, sitting there and you're just like, how did I get here? And why am I rejecting help? That should never be something that you do. It's just be like, oh no, I don't want help. It's the same thing when we're going through things in life and we're like, I'll just figure it out myself. We can't figure everything out. Or if you, say you're short on a bill and you've got to call and ask somebody for some help. No, you don't want to, but you got to do what you got to do. It's the same thing with therapy. No one wants to say, I need help. But if you are to the point where I can't handle this myself and you're purposely denying yourself that help, you're only being detrimental to yourself. You're only damaging yourself more. So you want to be open to the idea of receiving outside help. Don't look at it as something that is negative, because all it is positive. I honestly can't say that I've ever heard someone who went to therapy come back and say, therapy destroyed me. No, therapy is not going to destroy you, because it helps you build yourself up. It create, if you need help with self-love, understanding yourself and the experiences you've been through help you not only through life, but it helps you within yourself and betters you as a person. If you have children, the last thing you want to do is pass on these generational curses and traumas that we all have experienced because our families and our parents didn't want to seek help. They wanted to try to handle it themselves, to the point where they didn't handle it in the right way, and they ended up hurting us or hurting themselves, or anything like that. So it's imperative to try to get some type of help. You can start with a journal, you can start with that, but like I say, if you feel you're not getting better, you feel like you need more help, don't be afraid to go get it. It's out there, and no one within their right mind is going to look at you and be like, oh, ew, you're getting therapy, like you should be ashamed. No, because if anyone truly loves you and understands what you're going through, they're going to support you. No one is going to bash you for wanting to better yourself. It's the same thing if you're at a stagnant job and you're unhappy and you're miserable, and you tell your friend, hey, I think I want to look for another job. If they know what you're going through, they're going to encourage that. They're going to be like, hey, yeah, go find something else. Go do what you need to do to be happy. Same with therapy. You need to do what you need to do for you. And I cannot stress that enough. When it comes to mental health, you have to be selfish. It's the only way to heal and to grow, and to get to the point where every day isn't a struggle. You may have a rough day, once or twice a week, but every day isn't painful because you've been given tools to help get you through it. So when you have those tools, it makes it easier to get through situations in life. You'll be like, okay, you know, I know what I need to do. I may cry, I may be upset in this moment, but I know I just need to get it out, and I'm going to calm down and come up with the next step or a solution to my problem in order to make it better. And then you learn that everything doesn't have to be life or death. And I can say that because I'm a very emotional person. So when I get upset, I get upset. Whether it's sad, angry, hurt, you're going to know. And it hurts me to the point where I would lash out. But now that I've gone to therapy, I have these tools. I can go to my therapist for my next appointment and be like, you know what? Last week you told me, okay, this is a trigger for my anger. So this happened this week, but I used the tool that you told me, go take a walk, count to 10, walk away, come back, and then deal with the situation in a calm and healthy manner. And it's like if you don't know what to do for a situation, you're going to react strictly off of emotion. And that is what causes people to act before they think. And that's what ends up leading to bad situations because people are acting off of emotions instead of taking time to stop and think about the situation before they react. So therapy, like I say, it's more than just talking about your feelings. It applies to your daily life. And it is something that I feel, like I said, is something everyone should be doing because we all need help. It is the way we are. No one can go through life completely alone with no help. Everybody needs help from somebody in some way. And it's something that should be encouraged. Always encourage people. If you know someone who's struggling or you're struggling, encourage yourself. It doesn't always have to be from somebody else. Encourage yourself. Be like, I deserve to be happy. I deserve to feel good. I deserve to be healthy. And not just in a physical sense, but in my mental, because honestly, if your mental and emotional is off, it affects your physical. So you need all of these things to be in line in order to be the person that you want to be. So do your research. Figure out what works for you. And don't let anyone discourage you once you make that decision. Know that you're doing it for you. You're not doing it for anybody else. If you have children, know that you're doing this so you can raise your kids to know, first of all, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to talk about how you're feeling, and it's okay to express yourself if you feel hurt, angry, or anything like that. And fourth, you're teaching them healthy ways to deal with their emotions because you've been taught healthy ways. So it's gonna become a generational thing. Same way with that negativity, that positivity becomes a generational thing because you're raising them in a healthy way. So they're going to raise their children the way you raised them, and their children are going to raise their children off of those methods instead of those negative things that we've just been passed down because our parents say is right. No. And like I say, our parents did the best they could do for what they were given. But when you know better, you do better. And so be better for your babies. Be better for you. Go get help and don't be ashamed of it. Be proud that you have the strength because it is a strength thing to ask for help and to go get help. That is one of the strongest things you can do. Because honestly, bottling it in and trying to deal with yourself only makes you weaker. So if you're getting that help and that strength that you need, it helps you keep going. And it just promotes that positivity throughout. So just the best thing I can say is figure out what you need for you. When you figure out where you are in your life and in your situation, just take a little time. 10 minutes on Google, you can look up therapists in your area, counselors in your area. If you're unsure about your insurance, call the back of your insurance card. Every insurance has an 800 number. Call and talk to customer service. They can give you names of doctors in your area who accept your insurance plan to kind of narrow down that list for you and cut out some of that work. They can give you, a direct list, and then you can Google to see who would be more suitable for you in your situation. Because when you're picking a therapist or a counselor, you definitely want to make sure they align with your, moral values and the way that they, do their therapy or their coaching or anything like that. You want to make sure y'all are on the same page. Like, you don't, if it comes down to a religion thing for some people, if you're a Baptist, you probably don't want to go see a Mormon, Catholic therapist. You know what I'm saying? You want someone who can kind of advise you on your life because they're in that same lane. And they put all this stuff on their website. So when you go look it up, they tell you, like, if you need a marriage counselor, you're not going to go to a child therapist. You're going to go to a marriage counselor or a therapist who can help you with your marriage. Everyone has their, niches or specialties. And if you just need a general therapist, there are those too. But if you need a specialist, there are those too who specialize in just child therapy, marriage, or trauma therapy. They have that too, where if you've been through something really traumatic for, all the rape victims or, molestation victims, things like that, there are therapists and counselors who specialize in that, and they can help you. So there's honestly no reason why you can't get help if you want it. And like I said, I am here. You can comment in the section below. You can shoot me an email at loveandlunacy21@gmail.com. You can write me on my website. If you go to loveandlunacy.com, a little instant chat will pop up. As soon as you pull up the website, you can message me there. It comes directly to my phone. Same thing if you message me on IG or Facebook, it comes directly to my phone, and I will have zero problems with helping you if that's something you need, and give you guidance on, which direction to go in. So I hope you guys from this video today, you really feel more comfortable with going to get help and knowing that it's not a negative thing and it's only something that can benefit you. Like I say, it's not something that everyone, is ready for or everyone wants to do. And if you don't want to do therapy, that is perfectly okay. But this is mainly for people who feel they need that additional help, that they can't handle it on their own, or they're tired of dealing with it on their own and what they're doing isn't working, so they need tools to help. That's what that's for. That's what therapy is for. It gives you life tools to help you deal with situations. So just try. That's all I can say, is just try and do what you need to do for your mental, because only you can take care of you. If you run yourself dry, you don't have anything to give anyone anyway, and so it'll just continue to break you down. So go get help so you can be the best mother, wife, friend, daughter, any way you're trying to better yourself. Therapy can help you with that if you're struggling. So make sure you take those steps to do what you need to do to better yourself, and I promise you, you'll see a world of difference. So I just want to thank you guys again for tuning in. I hope that this video was helpful to someone. Like I said, if you ever have any questions or comments, leave them in the section below, and I will, get back with you. Thank you again for tuning in, and, please continue to like, share, subscribe to Love and Lunacy Surviving Mental Health, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.